Okay, so this is a cumulative frequency diagram. Now sometimes in questions, well not sometimes, quite a few times, most times I will say, they ask you for work out the median. And another question that comes up often is work out the interquartile range. Okay, so those are two common questions that come up once we've got a cumulative frequency. The median, as you all should know, is the middle value. Now if we're working at the median value here, estimation for the median amount of pocket money, you go along here, there were 20, let's say 40 children in total. Okay, you want to know where does that middle child lie. So the middle child will be, half of 40 is 20. So you go up to 20 and you use your ruler, you go along there and you run it down the middle. So the median estimation for the median amount of pocket money will be £3. That will be an estimation. I know this is a very easy example. I'll get to some harder examples later, but that's the first thing. Now if you haven't heard of interquartile range, right, this is the way we work this out. Is we get our data and we split them into quartiles. Quartiles are quarters. Okay, so interquartile range, inter means inside the quarters, so that means it's your data will be what we call is the lower quartile, upper quartile, subtract the lower quartile.
Just checking if you've got your 13 data then.
Was that into
daily deadlines? Into Sims.
I'll have a look. So it's the interquartile take away the lower upper quartile, take away the lower quartile. So the lower quartile is where is we get the 40 total and divide it by 4, gives me the 10th person represents the lower quartile. And for the upper quartile, we just get the lower quartile, the 10th person, and 3/4 of the data, times it by 3 is the 30th person. Where does that person lie? Okay, so just change my color. So if I look for the 10th person, where does the 10th person's pocket money lie? If I go along here and I go along and go down, that is, yes,
Where do you get the 4 from?
because quarters, when you go about quarter, quarter means sharing data into 4.
Oh.
Okay, so this is 1 quarter. 2 quarters is the same as a half, which is the median, and then 3/4 is known as the upper quartile. So this is lower quartile, a quarter of the value. This is upper quartile, and the median is half the data, where half the data lies. You okay with that? Good questions, keep them coming. My explanation is not great at the moment. I'm just trying to speed up some of this, but I'm just a bit annoyed that you haven't seen this up till now. But anyway, it's easy anyway. So the lower quartile, LQ, is equal to, if we split this up into pound money, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, that's £2.20. So equals £2.20 is the lower part of the quartile. If I look at where the 30th person lies, the 30th person lies here, which is going to give me the upper quartile, and I walk it along. Now this is known as the upper quartile. So this value here, if you look at it, is just 20p short of £4, so that is £3.80. So my interquartile range, which is the range between my upper and the lower quartile, so my interquartile range will be £3.80 subtract £2.20, and I'll end up with £1.60. So this tells me how spread out my 30th child in my top quartile kid and my lower quartile kid, how the money differentiates, or what is the difference between their gap of pocket money. Now sometimes this is represented in a box plot. Okay, sometimes this is represented in a box plot, and I'm going to talk about that a bit later, but just to give you an idea, if you look at this and bring it up here, sometimes you can represent cumulative frequency into what we call box plots. That's known as the lower quartile. There's my median, and there's my upper quartile. And what we tend to do is we draw a box around here, and then we look for what was the lowest pocket money, was almost 0. That's the lowest value, and the highest value here was £6. And then we connect this line up. These sometimes called the whiskers. Sometimes they used to call it box and whiskers diagram. They still do at A level. But this box here represents all this information here, and that's called a box plot. I'll go back and show you a bit more of this, but this is all the information. When you get a graph and you want to break it down and analyze it from something that started off very simple, you can analyze it like this. The last thing sometimes they ask you is, this is the interquartile, what is the range? Okay, sometimes they ask you what is the range, and you could look at this and find out. Anybody, any clues? What would have been the range amount of the pocket money? What's the highest pocket money? £6. What's the lowest? About 0. So the range, if we didn't look at the interquartile, the range is equal to £6 because it's 6 take away 0. Okay, just look at that. Just make sure you know that. And the other easy question what they ask you is, what is the modal class here? So the modal class is the most popular. Majority of the kids, this is known as the modal class, where majority of the kids got between 0 and 4. Actually, can I just take that back? You couldn't call that modal class because it's cumulative frequency, so take it to 0. This intervals would have gone between 0 and 1, 1 and 2, 2 and 3, and this would have been 3 and 4. So that would have been a kind of a modal class here. But we'll look into those a bit more detail.